The Bowmont family Christmas dinner was in full swing when my older brother, Daniel, decided I'd be tonight's entertainment. I sat at the far end of the 12-foot mahogany table in my parents' historic Savannah estate, quietly carving into my mother's imported truffle-stuffed goose. Daniel, 3 bourbons in and riding the warmth of his own ego, leaned back in his chair and called down the table. "So, little sister," he drawled, smirking over the rim of his glass. "Still clocking in at, what was it again? Some software gig?" "Vertex Dynamics," I corrected evenly, my thoughts drifting to the board meeting I'd chaired just 12 hours earlier. My company, Sentinel Corp., now valued at $4.8 billion, had finalized the acquisition of a cybersecurity startup the Pentagon had been circling for months. Not that anyone here had the faintest idea. To the Bowmonts, I was simply Camille, the obstinate 34-year-old who'd walked away from a guaranteed position at Bowmont Company, our family's investment empire. Right, Daniel chuckled, his platinum Patek Philippe catching the chandelier's glow. "The payroll processing place must be riveting. What's the going rate these days for glorified data entry?" Mother sighed theatrically. "Daniel, darling, be kind. Not everyone is suited for high-stakes finance." I sipped my champagne slowly, picturing Sentinel Corp's AI security framework, now supercharged by today's acquisition, reshaping the future of cyber defense. The kind of finance they'd never see coming until the ground gave way beneath them. Speaking of, Father cut in proudly. Daniel just closed a $900 million deal this week, youngest senior partner in firm history. Technically, I began, but Daniel steamrolled over me. "If you're serious about career growth, Camille, we've always got space at Bowmont Company for administrative staff, filing, coffee runs, things in your wheelhouse." If only he knew Sentinel Corp now controlled 3 of Bowmont Company's largest accounts, or that the recent market tremors bruising their portfolio had been triggered by my algorithms. "That's generous," I replied with a smile that didn't quite reach my eyes, "but I'm content where I am." "Happiness," Mother scoffed lightly, "isn't a rented condo and a 10-year-old sedan." I didn't bother telling her the condo was a penthouse spanning an entire waterfront tower I owned under a holding company, or that the sedan was my low-profile runabout parked beside my Aston Martin and Bentley. "Did you hear about the Sentinel Corp IPO?" Daniel asked suddenly. "Some mystery founder's about to change the whole industry." The corner of my mouth curved upward. If only he knew. Tomorrow's announcement wouldn't just launch our public offering, it would quietly expose the vulnerabilities of several major financial institutions, including Bowmont Company. Maybe Camille could invest a little, my sister-in-law Charlotte suggested sweetly, if she even has savings, that is. My phone buzzed under the table, a message from my COO, "Final prep complete. Press release set for 9 a.m. Board unanimous on green light." "Actually," I said, setting my glass down, "I've been following Sentinel Corp very closely." Daniel smirked. "Thinking of applying? I hear they've got great benefits for junior staff." "Something like that," I murmured, already picturing tomorrow's press conference, when the underachieving daughter would finally step into the spotlight as the founder of one of the fastest-rising tech empires in the world. Father waved me off. "Enough about Camille's career. Daniel, tell everyone about the new beach house on Tybee." As his voice filled the room, I slipped away. In the hallway, Mother's gilt mirror caught my reflection, black Malin dress, elegant but unassuming, the kind of thing a mid-level analyst might wear, perfect camouflage. Another buzz, a breaking news alert, Sentinel Corp's AI platform set to disrupt global finance, banks scrambling to patch vulnerabilities. I smiled faintly. Bowmont Company's outdated systems, so confidently declared bulletproof by Daniel, were on that list. Tomorrow, Daniel would learn exactly how wrong he'd been about his security, his firm's dominance, and about me. "Everything okay, sis?" His voice carried lazily down the hall. "Not feeling overwhelmed by all the success in here, are you?" I brushed my fingers over the small platinum pendant at my collarbone, the secure key holding Sentinel Corp's most guarded algorithms. "No, Daniel," I called back, just preparing for an interesting day tomorrow. The real show was coming, and my family had front-row seats without realizing it. The next morning, Savannah woke under a clear, icy blue sky, From the penthouse floor of Sentinel Corps' waterfront headquarters, my real office, I watched a wall of screens hum with pre-market tension. Financial networks buzzed, their anchors' voices sharp with anticipation. "Miss Bowmont," my assistant Miles said from the doorway, "your family's here for the investment consultation. They're in the main conference room." I smiled, picturing Daniel's smug face, convinced he was about to help his floundering sister manage her tiny savings. The invitation I'd sent that morning had been perfectly baited. "Are the news crews set?" I asked, straightening the lapel of my charcoal power suit, hand-tailored in Rome, fitted like armor, and worth more than Daniel's monthly salary. "Yes, ma'am," Miles said. "Every major financial network's camped in the lobby. Your brother's already complaining about having to walk through the media circus." My phone buzzed. "Where are you? Important people are trying to get into this building. Don't embarrass me by being late to your own consultation." On the lobby ticker, a single headline blazed across every screen: Sentinel Corps founder to be revealed, markets hold their breath. Several major bank stocks, Bowmont Company included, were already showing tremors. "Let's not keep them waiting," I said. Through the glass walls of the conference level, I saw them, Daniel mansplaining to Charlotte, father checking his watch, mother critiquing the decor. "I don't see why we couldn't have done this at the firm," she was saying. "This media circus is tacky. Poor Camille probably couldn't even get into our building with her credentials." Daniel smirked. "Best to humor her here." I stepped inside. "Good morning, family. Thank you for coming to this investment consultation." Daniel swiveled toward me, grin faltering at the sight of my suit. "Camille, that looks expensive." "It should," I said, setting my leather briefcase on the table. "It costs more than your beach house." "Don't be absurd," Mother scoffed. "You can't afford," she began, but stopped as the wall-mounted screens came alive, Sentinel Corps' logo blazing across them, market data scrolling in real time. The trap had been sprung. Breaking news tickers rolled across the screen. Sentinel Corps founder to make historic announcement. Markets brace for impact. "What's going on?" my father demanded, the edge in his voice betraying that his investment instincts were finally waking up. "Why are we really here?" I lifted the remote and turned up the volume. On screen, the CEO of the New York Stock Exchange addressed the cameras. "In an unprecedented moment in tech history, we are moments away from meeting the founder of Sentinel Corps, the AI security firm now valued at $4.8 billion. "Oh, how fun," Daniel said lightly, still oblivious. "We can watch this before we talk about your investment options. Though honestly, Camille, you should consider Bowmont Company's new fund instead of..." "Daniel," I cut him off. "Do you know why Bowmont Company's stock is down 15% in the last hour?" He frowned, pulled out his phone, and as the chart loaded, the color drained from his face. "How did you know?" "Because Sentinel Corps' AI audit found critical vulnerabilities in your systems. The same vulnerabilities I warned you about last year, when you were too busy making jokes about my desk job to listen." The room went still. Mother's wine glass slipped from her hand, staining her cream dress deep red. "What are you saying?" my father asked quietly, realization dawning. The screen shifted, my professional biography beside Sentinel Corps' innovations. "I'm saying," I smiled, "the mysterious founder about to revolutionize your industry has been at your Christmas table all along." Their faces, shock, disbelief, a flicker of fear, were worth every year of enduring their condescension. But this was just my opening move. The market reaction had already begun. "This is impossible," Daniel stammered. "You're just..." "Just what?" I asked softly. "Just your little sister? Just a paper pusher?" The screens cycled through Sentinel Corps' achievements, each a direct rebuttal to their insults. "The vulnerabilities," my father murmured. "You planned this." "Planned?" I slid a leather folder across the table. "I tried to prevent it. Remember last Christmas, when I told you major financial institutions needed urgent security upgrades?" Daniel's jaw tightened. "When I told you we had top-tier security and you didn't know what you were talking about?" "Yes," I said evenly. "That conversation." I turned my laptop toward them, showing a live feed of breach attempts, 47 in the last hour, each stopped by Sentinel Corps' AI. Charlotte finally spoke. "But your condo, your car, your clothes." We're camouflage. I finished. That rental you looked down on? I own the building. And half the block. Outside, the media frenzy was building. Right on cue, Miles appeared. Miss Bowmont, the board is ready for you. Anne. Bowmont Company. CEO is on line 1 about an urgent security consultation. Father shot to his feet. You need to stop this. The market impact? The market impact, I interrupted, is exactly what I warned you about. Every dismissal, every unnecessary expense you refused, this was the risk. I tapped a key, bringing up their client list. 3 of your largest clients have already signed with Sentinel Core today. By market close, it'll be double. Daniel leaned forward. We can fight this. With what? I cut in. Your legal team? You'll be fighting my audit. Want to guess how that ends? Mother's voice was small. Why not just tell us? Tell you? I laughed lightly. Like when I shared my first AI breakthrough and Dad called it playing with computers? Or when Daniel suggested I stick to data entry because it was more my speed? I stepped toward the window, the Savannah skyline stretching before me, punctuated by towers I owned through shell companies. You never saw what I was building because you didn't want to see it. So I stopped trying to convince you and built something undeniable. My phone buzzed. PR, press conference ready. Forbes exclusive. Waiting on your signal. I picked up my briefcase. If you want Sentinel Core's protection, talk to my sales team. No family discounts. At the door, I glanced back. Oh, and Daniel, check the land title for that Tybee beach house you love so much. The walk to the stage was short. Miles kept pace. Stocks down another 10%, he said. Send them our standard proposal, I replied. Media lights flared as I stepped to the podium. Good morning, I'm Camille Bowmont, founder and CEO of Sentinel Core, and I'm here to change the way the world thinks about security. I let the pause hang. If you've ever been underestimated, told you're not enough, remember this, you don't need their belief. You just need results so loud they can't ignore them. I smiled. The best revenge isn't anger, it's undeniable success.